Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So, Elon said on FSD 14.2.1, depending on context of surrounding traffic, yes, you can text and drive. Now, I think a lot of people will gloss over this because one, technically it's still FSD supervised, meaning the person in the driver's seat is still fully responsible for whatever happens. And two, this was just a reply on X from Elon. It was not an official release from Tesla. And yes, of course, just because Tesla lets people text when it comes to driver monitoring, that does not make it legal. So, if you're playing on your phone and you get pulled over, saying Tesla said I could is not going to do anything for you. However, I have tested this quite extensively the past 2 days with sunglasses and without, and while it can get annoying to glance up at the road every 7 to 10 seconds if you're trying to do something on your phone, for entire drives I was on my phone, sending texts, scrolling on X, watching videos, and so on. And of course, we can debate the safety of this behavior, but the core message is super clear to me. People are constantly on their phones in their cars without FSD or any real active driving assist engaged. It does not matter what the laws are, this has always been the case and will always be the case. So rather than operating in some fantasy land world that will never exist, why not operate and set regulations based on reality? It's obviously way safer for someone to use their phone with FSD engaged than without. It's not even close. And is it optimal if the driver is fully paying attention 100% of the time? Yes, of course. But again, given the state of the software, I think most of us would agree in most settings it's quite alright to look away for a few seconds to send a text or to check something. In my testing in pretty much all traffic settings, I got the pay attention to the road white text on the UI after about 7 to 15 seconds of not looking at the road. And I have to be honest, not looking at the road for any longer than 10 seconds starts to feel wrong. It's like I'm doing something wrong. This is probably just a personal thing and conditioning to some degree, but my point is glancing up at the road occasionally will still be natural for a lot of people. Now, when I did not have sunglasses on, within a second of glancing at the road, the nag, whether it was still just the white text or whether it had advanced to adding the blue flashing light, the nag would go away. The in-car camera is awesome at detecting your eyes without sunglasses. And when I had sunglasses on, it was definitely more hit or miss. I would get the white text nag, look at the road, but then the car would keep progressing the nag for a few seconds until it could figure out I was looking at the road and not my phone. And in some cases, I had to put my phone down, like below the steering wheel, because looking at the road was not clearing the nag with sunglasses on. I do plan to get out to do some more testing, maybe with a laptop to see how that goes, because with the nag where it is now, certainly more relaxed to some degree, you could actually get legit work done. And yes, as I said, during a longer drive, having to glance up every 10 seconds or so, and waiting for that white text nag out of the corner of your eye on the screen will get old, but if you're comfortable waiting for the audible beep, then that's certainly an option. And I have to say, there's always a chance NHTSA gets wind of this and has a word or a request for Tesla. I do think there's a chance Tesla had to nerf Mad Max specifically because NHTSA was looking into it, and perhaps they asked Tesla to tone it down. Or Tesla was expecting a minor rebuke and proactively toned it down on their own. I'll admit this situation is a bit murky since the driver is still responsible always, and being on your phone is illegal in most places while being in or driving a car depending on your state. But I always default to this setup being way safer than the alternative. If someone's going to be on their phone anyway, or eat and drive, or put makeup on and drive, or fall asleep while driving, let them do it with FSD activated. To have to disengage FSD to send a text is the height of regulatory lunacy in my opinion. So I think overall this is a very positive step in the right direction, not just for safety of the roads, but for Tesla owners and their experience. I don't drive often, but if I had a daily commute where I could be a bit more productive or even just enjoy the trip a bit more, I would find this step to be a massive win. And now Tesla can gather data and footage of users for a few weeks to monitor safety levels and hopefully progress quickly toward moving to unsupervised. But I think the most important signal here is Tesla's confidence in the safety data. This is a clear sign that Tesla believes the user can relax a bit when it comes to supervising FSD. So it's almost like we've moved into an era of supervised light. Because again, in all of the testing I was running, all I was doing was glancing at the road every 10 to 15 seconds. Said another way, for better or for worse, I was not paying attention most of the time. So that is certainly very nice from a user perspective, but I still think it's an even bigger deal because it gives us a glimpse into what Tesla sees on the FSD statistics dashboards in real time. And I'm the first person to say things still need work, like speed changes, navigation issues, parking, reading and understanding special signs, etc. But most of that stuff is not safety critical, and if it was a robotaxi environment and people were in the backseat not paying attention, they would have no idea anything was going on. So in my opinion, those are final refinements of a system that is mostly magic from where I sit right now. And if version 14.3 brings reasoning and fixes that list, we will be in a very exciting place. My point is most people are complaining about non-safety critical issues. It's very rare to see one of those nowadays. And I've said all along, real FSD adoption will start when people can text and supervise, and here we are, just with some caveats for now. And we don't get a lot of videos of FSD in the fog because fog isn't the most common thing, but here's a quick video of FSD in fog in the EU on one of those demo drives, specifically in Italy. And I don't know about you guys, but even when I'm being blinded by the sun and past versions may throw up the red steering wheel, that has not been happening to me on version 14. So glare issues seem to be greatly improved. A German outlet AutoBild put out a review of Tesla's FSD Supervised. It said the system takes over braking, acceleration, and steering all smoothly without any jerking, traffic, construction zones, traffic jams, and the car remains composed as if it were perfectly normal. It did say the safety driver only had to intervene once because the Tesla misinterpreted a converted one-way street. So whether that's bad map data or not understanding signs, we're hoping to get a fix with 14.3. And of course, as Tesla has more FSD testing across the EU and learns the local roads, things will improve quickly. The outlet said, FSD sees more than I do. It does not get distracted and never gets tired. I like to think I'm a good driver, but I cannot match this system's all-around vision. So this was not a thorough review, but to have a positive review like this from a German media outlet, I think says everything you need to know. We have Kevin Kiley, a US congressman, saying the data on self-driving cars, including Waymo and to some extent Tesla, shows they're already overwhelmingly safer than human-operated vehicles. With 40,000 people dying on our roads every year, we can save tens of thousands of lives by expanding access to this tech. In the comments, Kevin said, I only qualified the statement about Tesla's safety data because of the data limitations cited in the New York Times piece. But my point in sharing this is that the more politicians and media publications that start to speak out positively about autonomy like this, the better our chances become to have this tech normalized faster, and further, our chances improve of actually getting that federal framework for autonomous vehicles. It's becoming more clear by the day to anyone paying attention, the momentum is very strong right now. Speaking of FSD in Germany, this was a very impressive clip. And further, if anybody needed proof that even skeptics are being converted by FSD right now, the Wall Street Journal, of all outlets, allowed this article to go out. We won't share the details, but part of it, the author said, "Driving always felt like a chore to me. The first time I let the vehicle take control, something shifted. The tension melted away. It felt like liberation, and now I have something better than a chauffeur. It's a small miracle I never expected from a car." The article was written by Sunita Parasuraman, and hopefully she's not out of a job come Monday. I say that semi-jokingly because of Tesla's history with the Wall Street Journal. But Elon shared that post from Sawyer saying Tesla self-driving is incredible. Many people are now calling for TSD instead of FSD, Tesla self-driving, which is shorter and cleaner. You wouldn't want to mix up the letters, but what do you guys think? Would you prefer TSD, Tesla self-driving? But this is a perfect example of why generalizations always fall short. Elon shared a post from the Wall Street Journal saying accurate. If you're thinking, what's the big deal? Well, let's just have a quick look at what Elon has said about the Wall Street Journal. TMZ is better than the Wall Street Journal. It's not that all Wall Street Journal stories are fake, but they are almost all mean-spirited and deceptive. Wall Street Journal is so broken. Congrats, WSJ, on your new name, BSJ. BS is so much more accurate. Wall Street Journal is a discredit to journalism. Wall Street Journal is utter garbage, zero integrity, literally zero. And we'll end with this one. Nothing the Wall Street Journal says should ever be thought of as true. Unless, of course, they happen to say something positive about your company. And I know this will come off as a slight to Elon, and to some degree, I do think that's fair because he can't have it both ways, but my ultimate point is 1, the world needs more nuance and context, and 2, there's a real shift underway when the Wall Street Journal is allowing pro-Tesla articles to go out and Elon is sharing them. This right here, I think, is one of the most underrated storylines of this robotaxi future we're on the precipice of. Aurelian said, "I spent years working with car on-demand companies to improve the user experience, and one of the biggest sources of user frustration we consistently saw in feedback was the cleanliness of the vehicles." He said, "Once a car is even slightly dirty, people feel less responsible and start pushing boundaries. This is the broken windows theory in action, where visible disorder encourages more disorder, especially when there's no one around to enforce norms. The mess is not just what cameras can capture. They can detect obvious things like garbage or abandoned food, but they often miss smaller details that users still react to, like dog hair, fingerprints, or tiny debris. On the other hand, once someone acknowledges a clean environment, they're more likely to keep it that way. Operationally, the toughest challenge has always been real-time cleaning. Deploying human teams across a city does not scale. That's why sensors, interior monitoring, and now autonomous cleaning systems are being tested, like the one recently presented by Tesla, are such a big deal. They finally address one of the core user experience bottlenecks in autonomous fleets. Sticking with the theme of transportation changing quickly, during the press conference for the Trump admin pulling back those auto cafe standards, something else was said.
If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea and Malaysia and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small, they're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars.
He gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have.
Just so no one misinterprets what Trump said, there really aren't any explicit federal rules banning small cars in the US, but it comes down to safety, emissions, and then certification requirements. Which brings us back to the discussion around the Cybercab and those Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, FMVSS. In short, the problem is a lot of these smaller cars can't pass these crash safety tests. In the past 2 days, Sean Duffy has said numerous times that he's now cleared the deck and cleared the rules to remove these barriers to produce and sell smaller cars in the US. The problem is so far nothing official has yet been posted, so we don't know exactly what has changed. But as far as I can tell, part of those changes will most likely be related to crash worthiness. So certainly something to keep an eye on. I'm not sure super small cars will ever be a huge hit in the United States, but for 10 to 15% of the market, I'm sure they would love these vehicles, even though Sean Duffy did comment about how some of these cars might not be suitable for highways. But in a robotaxi world where over 90% of trips are 2 people or less, I think this conversation will become increasingly important, apart from whether or not the cars have wheels and pedals. Because I, for one, am going to want to know everything about Cybercab crash safety, given how small the vehicle really is, and the fact that I will have no control. That will certainly be a barrier for some. Consumer Reports shared the survey results for 2026 when it comes to car reliability. For the first time ever, Tesla has cracked the top 10, coming in 9th place with a score of 50 out of 100 for predicted reliability. And yes, Tesla is the only full EV maker to be in the top 10. Rivian, on the other hand, is down in last at 26. This year, they got data on about 380,000 vehicles from 2000 to 2025 model years. Now, it is true that some Consumer Reports surveys do include old Teslas. We're talking model year 2010 to 2015, so of course those will drag down Tesla's results. But when it comes to the predicted reliability ratings, what we're looking at now, Consumer Reports says it focuses on vehicles from the last 3 years, 2023 to 2025. CR said this year Tesla made the biggest improvement in our brand reliability rankings, moving up 8 spots. This was partly due to the performance of the Model 3, the most reliable electric car in our survey, and the Model Y, which is the most reliable electric SUV and the most reliable electric vehicle overall in this year's survey. Tesla's legacy models, the S and X, have average reliability, and the Cybertruck has below average reliability. They said this year, data from our members indicates Tesla appears to have addressed many of those problems in recent years. I'm always curious where Tesla is losing points, and this year it came from touchscreen control frustration, some people citing no haptic feedback, which I take as some people may be coming from a car with a lot of physical buttons and not adjusting quite as quickly as they had hoped. Tesla scoring 50 out of 100 isn't as bad when you understand that first place Toyota scored 66 out of 100. And the 2 main areas where Tesla lost points was in-car electronics, back to the touchscreen, software bugs, voice commands not working, and then body hardware, mostly on the Model S and X, like power doors not working properly, and on the hardware side, people having problems with cameras. So as we've said in the past, a car with a lot of new tech is likely going to have more issues. But despite Tesla taking more risks and trying to single-handedly push the auto industry forward, it's encouraging to see that its reliability is also improving significantly. The head of Hyundai's self-driving division has quit. They said his departure means the company has failed to internalize self-driving tech. Upon his departure, Chang Hyong Song shared his frustrations of working at a traditional car company. He said it was not easy to aim to make an AI device rather than a car and implant software DNA rather than focus on hardware. He had countless conflicts with a legacy business and faced unseen walls while trying to transition to software-defined vehicles. Song has attempted to shift Hyundai's LiDAR-focused self-driving system to cameras during his tenure. But what do you know? The shift from LiDAR to cameras was met with pushback as Hyundai has invested in LiDAR for a long time, aka the sunk cost fallacy. Some of its LiDAR projects by research groups were halted by Song, and inside Hyundai, Song's moves were considered following Tesla. As if somehow that would be a bad thing. What do I always say? Success leaves clues, and the only reason all of these companies aren't copying Tesla is because of 1, pride, and or 2, a lack of AI and software talent and know-how. So the demise of legacy auto is likely going to be delayed by maybe a decade plus, the way the winds are blowing in the US politically, which is a bummer for those of us that like clean air and quiet streets, but the writing is still all over the walls in the end. DHL has taken delivery of its first all-electric Tesla Semi. DHL's fleet of Class 8 electric vehicles in North America is now more than 150. The Semi Semi joins its fleet after a successful pilot where the truck covered over 3,000 miles of regular routes. Tesla Semi demonstrated outstanding efficiency, averaging 1.72 kilowatt hours per mile, while hauling a gross combined weight of 75,000 pounds over a 390-mile long-haul route. They said our pilot of the Tesla Semi exceeded expectations, proving its ability to efficiently haul a typical DHL freight over long distances on a single charge. With its range of up to 500 miles, the Semi unlocks opportunities that were previously beyond the limits of heavy-duty EVs, and we're excited to partner with Tesla to make that a reality. The truck is now traveling around 100 miles per day, requires charging about once per week, and does offer a range up to 500 miles fully loaded. DHL does plan to add more semis in 2026 as Tesla begins its volume production. DHL hasn't listed all of the electric trucks it has in its fleet, but I know that the Freightliner e-Cascadia makes up a portion, and then a few trucks are from Volvo. But once the Tesla Semi enters official production, I would expect DHL to quickly make that more and more of its fleet. We also have Keller Logistics Group wrapping up a key pre-production planning session with Tesla this week. This as the Tesla Semi is moving closer to broader fleet adoption. Keller is a family-owned carrier with over 300 tractors and 1,000 trailers operating in the Midwest and Southeast, and they just completed the session to assess the Tesla Semi's fit for its operations. The company's routes typically span 500 to 600 miles per day, positioning it as an ideal tester for the Semi's day cab configuration. Details remain under mutual NDA, but the meeting reportedly focused on matching the truck to yard, shuttle, and regional applications, while scrutinizing economics like infrastructure, maintenance, and incentives. Ramos said commercial vehicles will go electric faster than personally owned vehicles. Their owners actually care about cost per mile and ton mile, where EVs have a larger advantage. And vehicles that drive more miles per year save even more by going electric. To which Tesla's Dan Priestley said yes. Now, simple math at scale, when the Tesla Semi is doing around 50,000 units a year, that program will be somewhere between $3 and $5 billion in gross profit for Tesla annually, which is certainly nothing to scoff at, but the real excitement will come when Unsupervised is deployed on the Semi fleet. That may lag a few years, but if you want to talk about things that probably aren't fully priced into Tesla stock, I would certainly have that near the top of my list. This year, for the Tesla holiday software update, we went from basically no leaks to getting the official release. So let's quickly run through all of the features because honestly, it's better than I was expecting. Grok can now add and edit navigation destinations, becoming your personal guide. We've all been wanting Grok to be further integrated with the Tesla UI, so this is a very encouraging step in that direction.
Hey Grok, I want to go on a tour of San Francisco. Could you take me to the Ferry Building, Pier 39, and Golden Gate Park?
Heading to the Ferry Building first, then Pier 39 and Golden Gate Park. Should take about an hour total with traffic.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome. Enjoy the SF tour.
And it does not take much to imagine where this can go from here. Tesla is turning its cars into a photo booth. Take selfies from inside your Tesla and give yourself a makeover with filters, stickers, and emojis. Share with others right from the Tesla app. So for family road trips and making memories, that could be a lot of fun. Now in dog mode, we get live activity on the mobile app. It will feature periodic snapshots of your vehicle's cabin along with live updates on temperature, battery, and climate conditions. The dashcam viewer now has more detail for each clip. It now includes things like speed, steering wheel angle, and the self-driving state, which is actually awesome because we will finally know for sure if all of these clips people share online were truly on FSD. Santa mode now adds festive snowmen, trees, a lock chime, and snow effects for a 3D visual treat. There is a new light show called Jingle Rush. You can now personalize your Tesla avatar with window tints, custom wraps, and license plates. You can use one of many preloaded designs or create and upload your own using a flash drive. You can finally reorder your navigation favorites and set home or work by dropping a pin anywhere on the map. You can also view suggested destinations based on your recent trips and habits while parked. You can now see a 3D view of select Tesla superchargers by tapping View Site Map. When navigating to a pilot location, the site layout and live occupancy will be displayed upon arrival. Navigation now has the option to use high occupancy vehicle carpool lanes. Your route will automatically select the carpool lane when eligible. Your vehicle will chime a few seconds after the doors close if a phone key is inside the cabin or a phone is left on the wireless charger, and no occupants are detected. You can now save a charge limit for your current location while parked, and it'll be applied automatically the next time you charge there. In the arcade, there's a new SpaceX ISS docking simulator, and you can finally enable or disable the wireless phone charging pads. Add Spotify tracks to your queue right from the search screen, and scroll through large Spotify playlists, albums, podcasts, and so on seamlessly without pages. There's rainbow colors for the rave cave, and the lock sounds now includes the light cycle from Tron mode. Feature availability subject to vehicle hardware and region. Global energy storage shipments jumped 85% in the first 3 quarters of this year, with Tesla and Chinese manufacturers leading the charge. Global ESS shipments reached 286 gigawatt hours in the first 3 quarters, with volumes exceeding 100 gigawatt hours in a single quarter for the first time in Q3. The top 10 suppliers accounted for roughly 60% of shipments. Across all shipments, the top 5 suppliers were Tesla, Sungrow, BYD, CRRC, Zhuju, and Huawei. And then on the residential side, the top 5 suppliers were Tesla, Huawei, BYD, Pylon Tech, and Deye. And Tesla and Huawei were clearly widening their lead over smaller competitors. Both the Model 3 standard and the Model Y standard are now rolling out across parts of Europe and the Middle East. And the Model Y standard in the UK for lease starts at £299 per month. Test drives start in January. So politics aside, if Tesla can get FSD approved next year on this product that's already an incredible value, I think it will be very difficult for people not to consider this as an option. Tesla Charging said Wednesday through Sunday Thanksgiving stats were all-time records for American superchargers: 11.4 sessions per day per stall, and only 0.76% had to wait. So that's absolutely a stat to remember anytime somebody brings up how Tesla superchargers are always full. You can counter with the data that says that is not accurate. Said another way, for one of the busiest travel weekends of the year, less than 1% of people had to wait. In case you are near the Miami area, on December 6th and 7th, so this weekend, Tesla will be hosting an event, The Future of Autonomy Visualized. It'll be held at the Tesla Miami Design District showroom. It'll be an immersive journey inside the digital mind that guides our autopilot tech and humanoid robot Optimus. This exhibit shows you a simulation of what our vehicles and Optimus see, our world turned into a digital landscape. You do have to RSVP, space is limited, and admission is not guaranteed. Waymo announced it's now fully autonomous in Houston, but somehow everyone continues to gloss over all of the negative things going on with Waymo right now. I'll admit I've been guilty of not sharing everything that's been going on, but now we have NHTSA asking Waymo for more information about its system, as the Austin School District said its robotaxis illegally passed school buses 19 times this year. Waymo said it issued a fix, but reports of Waymo's illegally passing school buses has continued even after the fix. And the Austin School District is asking Waymo to cease operation during certain times of day, saying Waymo's software updates are clearly not working as intended nor as quickly as required. Some users are now posting screenshots of Tesla running paid ads now on YouTube. And Sawyer laid out a long list of new Tesla promotions in the US, so if you're interested, go ahead and pause the screen. I will not be surprised if Elon comes out this weekend denying this, but for now, the Wall Street Journal is saying that SpaceX is in talks for a share sale that would value the company at $800 billion. And further, the Information is reporting that SpaceX is now telling investors it's targeting late 2026 for an IPO. If this new share sale and expected new valuation of $800 billion is accurate, that would be a near doubling of valuation for SpaceX twice since the last update we got. And a quick pro tip, Scott shared this video saying that if you click right above the navigation in your Tesla UI, you can quickly search or add a waypoint along your route. However, it's also true if you click anywhere on the map that doesn't already have a destination, you will get the same effect. Tesla stock closed the day at $455 even, up 0.1%, while the NDX was up 0.43%. The volume was 31% below the average. I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful weekend. Please like the video. If you did, you can find me on X linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.